And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com. Go see our good friends at Hail Mary's. They're located in Cheviot. They're on Harrison Avenue, right in the Dora District, so you can go from bar to bar with your drinks, or just hang out at Hail Mary's. They've got food trucks on the weekend. They've got a 27 TVs set up, 9-screen video wall. They have the DirecTV Sports package, so all the games will be streamed. And the 9-screen video wall will always have Cincinnati sports. They have brand new walk-in cooler, brand new draft lines, and of course, you can get an ice cold Cincy Light in a 32.8 degree frosted glass. All right, Aaron. This one, Aaron might yell and scream in this one. Not at me. I don't have anything to do with it. A couple things we'll see how long this goes. I got something else we might get to that is fascinating, depending on how long the first topic goes. But Iowa State's athletic director, Jamie Pollard is his name, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
Had an interview. This was covered by John Kurtz, who covers Kansas State here on YouTube. So he's got a video up about this. But Jamie Pollard basically did an interview where he was talking about the financial situation at Iowa State, painted a picture that it is very dire, talks about potentially having to drop down a level to where like Northern Iowa is. He takes shots at Iowa for taking money from the state during COVID when Iowa State didn't. Northern
Iowa catching a stray in all of it is probably the funniest thing for no reason.
But all of this essentially coming down to revenue share being something that is imminent. It is unavoidable. It should have been happening for a very long time now in some iteration. But of course, the NCAA and the presidents that run the NCAA don't want to give up a single penny that they don't have to. So they don't want to pay the labor, essentially.
And this whole conversation is even without getting into the roster limits being optional. Now that's what they're trying to do to get through the House bill.
We'll see if that goes by the judge. There's also
no shot.
There's also talk of the government stepping in and punting this entire House versus the NCAA case. Everything is a shit show right now. But focusing just on this Iowa State thing, I have a lot of thoughts. I know Aaron has a lot of thoughts. So I'm going to move Aaron here into the driver's seat because this is a topic that he is very passionate about. Aaron, take it away.
Let's start with the fact that whoever's in charge of these schools, I want to know what the hiring process is like, what the interview questions, what the background is of the people who are in charge of the money for these schools. Secondly, the fact that we've painted ourselves into a corner at these schools because, as we've talked about, you cannot be in the green at the end of the year because if you don't use money that is budgeted for the sports departments, then it goes away.
It doesn't go. Here was always the problem with that, Aaron, is that the argument was there's no money for the players. Look, we lose money every year. We don't make any money, so we don't have any money to pay the players. What that became as they started making more and more and more and more money is a race to spend all the money. Whether it be
why you have video game labs and the silliest shit that you could ever imagine in some of these locker rooms. When you're bringing in 120,000 people and still have a wall of porta potties instead of actual restrooms for people.
To be fair, Cincinnati has never experienced really this windfall of cash.
Sure.
So a lot of the things we're talking about are specific to places like Iowa State that have been in the power structure since this all exploded, with live sports becoming pretty much the hottest commodity in television because it always does numbers, it always produces. So places like that, places, even the major programs that are
Arizona,
making
Virginia Tech.
Arizona's like $40 million in debt.
There were talks of them selling the athletics program off to the highest bidder months ago.
It's what it comes down to is a lot of this, instead of taking a look in the mirror as revenue sharing is coming online and saying, we're going to have to make some tough decisions. Be it maybe you don't build a brand new weight room for women's lacrosse. I'm not picking on women's lacrosse. I'm just maybe that $3 million locker room, weight room, whatever project for women's lacrosse goes away. Or maybe that $7 million salary to your coach becomes a $4.5 million salary to your coach. That is the thing that I think these institutions need to look at and say, maybe we need to fix some of this, because the reason that it's like this isn't because all of these jobs and projects and whatever were necessary. It's because they were a product of, we have to spend all our money every year, no matter what, in order to not be able to pay the players. Well, now you're going to have to pay the players. So there needs to be some self-reflection on how your athletic department is being operated.
Set budgets. There's the people in charge of the money should set budgets. That's your job.
Well, they have budgets, but they need to adjust the budget. They need to change the budget, and they don't want to do that.
Well, they need to lower the debt ceiling is what they need to do. As you brought up politics earlier. In any case, so now you have schools like Virginia Tech, who is passing along the cost of the athletics, paying the players. Essentially, they're passing the cost on to the students. 50,000 students, you do the math, at $20 million on 50,000 students, that's $400 a year per student. They're just throwing on.
Cincinnati does that. There's an athletics fee at UC for the last 15 years.
No. But they didn't tack this on because now you have to pay the players. They're essentially at Virginia Tech passing along this new pay the players to the students. That's what you're doing.
Fine. Whatever.
I guess in my eyes, if you're doing that, that should be a tax write-off. Like, what are we doing? And then you bring up the idea of, go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's a reason colleges are kind of dying on the vine right now, and it's because it's incredibly too expensive to get a collegiate education. Just a basic standard flat rate, not a specialist, not like I need 8 years of college to go be a doctor or a physicist or an engineer. Like,
you want to talk about inflation? Inflation at colleges has been insane over the course of my lifetime, your lifetime.
But that's all part of it. So if they throw another $400 to go to the athletic department,
that's a drop in the bucket technically. But it's just, but that $400 you're going to end up paying $6,000 once you've paid the interest off on all of your school loans. Multiply that up by 4 or 5 years, however long it takes you to get your degree. In any case, you're also bringing in the idea of private equity, which I've dug a little bit into this idea. I've dug into this idea of private equity, and what the fuck is anyone actually thinking to get involved with private equity? Why in the world would you, if you're already struggling to pay the bills, take out a loan to just kick the can down the road with interest to pay the bills? If you're doing this in we'll start this year one of paying the players, you're going to have to do this every single year. So you're just going to keep taking out loans to pay the players no, again, it comes down to budgeting the money. Figure it out. You are literally in charge of finances for the athletics department. That's one person's job. That's their entire job. Yep. Do your job. Figure it out. You can't just be writing checks down the road for somebody else to figure out. That doesn't make any bit of sense for anybody, not for the players, not for the students, not for the university as a whole, and whatever's to come down the road. What if there's another COVID? Iowa State talked about in that same article, in the interview, whatever it was, that they were in an okay place as opposed to Iowa, who had to borrow from the university during COVID to make sure that they stayed afloat. Iowa State didn't have to do that because they had a surplus that they were able to take out and take care of some things. What if there is another situation, whatever that situation may be, where you have to borrow money again? Figure it out now before it gets worse down the road.
Aaron, let's see if I can find, hold on. Iowa State. Do you know how much Iowa State, what their total revenue was in the latest reporting, which I guess would have been 2024?
I know the graph you're looking at, and tell me, are they in the middle or on the upper end?
They're in 39th place.
Okay, I was thinking just the Big 12 graphic. If they're in 39th,
no, I'm talking nationally.
Okay, then I'd guess somewhere in the realm of, let's say, 80 million.
$111 million.
Okay, crazy.
They brought in $111 million.
What's their expenses?
$111 million. They're going to say 1,847 no, they had a 1.8 million surplus.
And that's this past season.
That came out in 2014, yeah.
Oh, that's
2024, sorry. 2024.
And they've been successful of late.
Yeah. I mean, I just, if you can't figure out a way to work this $20 million in there, then you're bad at the job. Because part of the job
is handling
a budget.
Correct.
Part of the job is handling a budget.
That's
the job is
that's probably the largest. That's the largest part of the job, Chad. Not signing the checks, not spending the money. Yeah. It's figuring out how to save the money to make it all work.
It blows my mind that the answer is not to look inward. It doesn't blow my mind. It's very predictable. It's very understanding that this is how this all works. But you take a budget, you take the money that you think you're going to make, and then you say, okay, we plan on making $111 million this year. We have to find a way to spend 91 because 20 is off the books. This is not, we're running $1 million business and we need to find a way to get $20 million. You're not running $1 million business. You're running $100+ million business.
It's essentially saying I make, a let's say $70,000 job. Well, my car died and I have to figure out how to pay for a car now on what I was already paying on a car that, and all of my money going out, I have to figure out how to fit a car payment in. Yeah. Figure out how to fit a car payment. It's not this isn't crazy.
a personal experience. Kelly used to make pretty good money. Pretty solid money. $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month, depending, $8,000 a month, depending on the job she was working at that point in time. She passed away. Social Security, like $1,900 is what we get out of Kelly's Social Security. We lost a lot of money in that exchange.
You have to figure it out.
Had to figure it out. Had to move this here, and we'll do that here. We'll take this here, and we'll take that there, and make it work. That's the reality of life. Like that's how shit works. There's a new expense in the NCAA. They need to figure out how to add it into the budget and still make the budget work. It's not, we have to drop. They were talking about the city's going to fold because sports are going to be less important and nobody's going to go to Ames.
That's chicken little bullshit right there. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Get out of here. Miss me with all of that. You can't try and pass the buck. That's all this is doing. When you start talking about you're going to collapse the entire economy around you. No, you're going to figure it out.
I mean, Texas Tech's figuring out a way how to do it, right?
I mean, Texas is figuring out a way how to do it, and they just spent $40 million on the team.
Yeah. It's crazy to me. Crazy. We'll have a topic for tomorrow night since we didn't get to it tonight. But hey, college athletics is a great business to be in if you want to be really, really bad at math and everybody's okay with it.
It's almost like the weatherman. If you run budgets for the athletic department, you can be about as accurate as the weatherman.
Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow. That's the nightcap brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com.
Get out of here. See ya!